Back to another Wednesdays with Walter. Hello, Walter.
Morning.
We're starting off more functional today, at least compared to last week, which was a shit sandwich, let's say, for cognitive capabilities at the time. Let's go and thank our friends at the VA for that.
Go ahead.
This mental fog is brought to you in part by the VA because they'd rather just pump 1,000 milligrams of Seroquel down your throat than actually try to deal with any of your problems.
All they have to do is just call it.
All they have to do is think.
Transfer funds from this account to this account. Thank you. Have a nice day. Nope. Let's sue Chuck. Gotta love that.
Yeah, thankfully mine just went to collections, and really, I didn't even know I was at Naval Hospital until well after the fact that's where I got flown out of. I don't know. I was on a roof. There were helicopter blades above me, and I was strapped down to something, and I couldn't even move my head. So, you were in an accident, sir. That makes sense. Night, night. Damn it! What, the lights finally turn on? What? Someone's finally home. I'm responsive all the time. Now that I'm actually knowing what the hell's going on, you render me unconscious. Thanks a lot, dicks. But as we talk about all those things, everybody, I'm a giving human being, and he told me things he wanted to talk about. I gave him my list, and we compromised. So we actually hit a lot of the important things that need to be talked about. And as it was just Memorial Day, well, I know where most of the people we no longer have with us that we served with. Well, we didn't lose them in the line of duty. We lost them when they came back because, well, as we were joking, the VA kind of sucks. And really, I mean, most people don't even want to admit they have a problem until it's
Too late.
Far, far too late. So we're getting hit. Mental health is a large, big part of it. No matter how many people want to argue with me, even though that one person stopped arguing with me, all I had to say was one paragraph. Just boom, send it to you. Suddenly, he didn't have something smart to say every 2 minutes. Suddenly, dun dun dun, it stopped. But
It was a little common sense.
Drugs and PTSD and all kinds of things are all related into the mental health and shootings and suicides. Obviously, I mean, no sane person is going to walk up and just shoot into a crowd of 30 people. That's just that's not something that sane people do.
Nope.
Or if you want to go into the real thing, well, people don't have guns, don't have gun problems. Yeah, look at places. I.e., let's go with China. Guess what? In the year 2019, they had over 3 times as many stabbings as we did. Want to know why? Because they don't have any guns, so they use whatever they can actually get their hands on, because that's what crazy people do. You're welcome, America. Now on to Walter's big opening thoughts.
All righty. Something that quick opening thought for Chucky.
Oh, yeah.
I personally feel like we're playing games with the Ukrainian government and their military. I don't like it.
Quit playing games with my
short,
heart.
medium, and long range rockets are all rockets, and they all do the equal damage. One's just further away than the other. Send them long range. Anyways, outside of that, playing games there. I agree with you. The mental health is not a serious statement that's ever talked about with our government or policymakers or anything along those lines. Anyone. Yeah.
It's a gun problem.
Yeah, it's always goes. Anyways, my other opening thought is I like this new riffraff between Biden and his cronies. He says one thing, they say another. Now all of a sudden he's mad.
It happens.
That's my other opening thought.
It happens every time they do anything too. Like they say something, he's out there and just go over there. And then whatever her nuts now, I can see her face. I don't care what her goddamn name is. She's even worse off than Jen Psaki. When MSNBC is like internal document saying, please God, do not hire her. Like when they're saying that Jen Psaki's too problems, and this lady's even worse. And then she gets to do cleanup on aisle 5. And I mean, that's what they bring themselves, but there's just so much stupid. And the problem is, it's not even that, it's just the amount of people that buy into it and regurgitate the stupid. And then there's people that are really stupid. I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but I once drew a picture and it made me feel a lot better for my mental health situations. But people like that see headlines like from just the news, never the flying that even is, but their headline was no shit. Customs and Border Patrol drug seizures decline under Biden. So marijuana went down because, at year to year it went down, but fentanyl and deadlier things over doubled. And just because these less deadly things are going down because they found new stuff to kill us with, doesn't mean that the numbers are, wow, you found one number that went, the rest of them went.
Well, not just that, they take that number and say, yes, it's went down. But what they don't talk about is they may have less drug seizures, but they don't talk about the fact that now when they're doing their drug seizures, every time they get them, it's not a 1 or 2 bundle situation for weed anymore. It's not, it's not 100 pills here, 1,000 pills there. We're talking pounds, sometimes 100 pounds, 105.
I have numbers from DPS, CBP. There you go. See, I'm reading ahead, but numbers at least I got off of them for fiscal year 2022, March to April increase. They don't have April to May. I know May just ended. Give them a break. No, I will not give them a break. I'll break them off a piece of that Kit Kat bar because it's not like they don't have some big database where it all goes and gets added up anyway every day. But March to April, pound increase, like, let's see, increases, just percentage. Cocaine was up 96%, meth was up 20%, heroin was up 138%, and fentanyl was up 23%. Not like anyone's ever got strung out or did anything stupid or died on any of those drugs. And pound increases from March to April. Marijuana went from 58 pounds in March to 259 in April. Coke went from 50 to 186. Heroin went from 2 to 14. Meth went to 24 up to 479. Fentanyl went from 13 to 174 because that's not going to kill anybody. And this is just what they're reporting. And other went from 4 to 19. So, that would be, the black tar.
That's what I was getting at. Like
other pills and stuff.
Just for the marijuana side of it, you went from 2 or 3 bundles to 12 to 18 bundles. I mean, there's a huge increase. You got people at mass quantities coming across daily, uninterrupted, unaccounted for, because we don't even see all of them.
Nope.
Only person that really catches them all is like them poor saps down there in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona that's got people just flooding across their yards that aren't supposed to be here. I said last week it's gonna turn into a mass killing at some point because some of these people are gonna get tired of it. You got fentanyl, which is another thing that's went up.
Yeah, I think I saw that they got 100 pounds in Texas over the weekend, just over one weekend, like in like one time, like that's enough to kill a few million people.
So it went from 13 to 174 pounds in the 1 month, right? That's a lot. And then you take that and you add it to the fact that how many pills can an average person carry on them that they just carried like a Ziploc bag or something in their pocket? How many pills? Probably 150, 200? A
lot.
Okay. So how many pills do you think it takes to equal that 174 pounds? That's a lot of pills. I mean, there's no way around it. And it literally takes just a few milligrams, like 2 or 3 milligrams of fentanyl to kill the average human. Just a few milligrams. Like, just coming in by the pills, you got Joe Blow coming across the border down there. He's either bringing that or they've worried about all these different diseases that's made their comeback. Let's be open. You can't tell me out of what was the number they had a couple months back? It was 160 some different countries that were coming across that border so far. You're telling me nobody came from Africa whatsoever. I'm one, going to call bullshit. 2, tell you it's not possible for that many different countries to come across that southern border without some of them coming from or going through Africa. No way. There's no way you can deny And anyone that does, I
Oh.
want them to show me proof.
They can deny it. I mean, you can deny anything.
I mean,
They're
that's
stupid.
you got anywhere from
We got
200% to 1,300% increases on these numbers. If I read those numbers, yeah. So anywhere from 200 to 1,300% increases on any of these given numbers. Well, how is that acceptable? Yeah, your numbers came down because these numbers are going up. Those numbers came down because murders go up. All those numbers they're talking about are going down because none of the other numbers that people like you and I would talk about, they're all gone up. They have no interest in talking.
and it's, I mean, I've looked at the numbers, I've talked about the numbers, I've shown you the numbers. I mean, really, I mean, like they do have some things like heroin, yes, overall was way down, just like Coke, but there were other numbers for stuff that'll kill you way faster. Again, like fentanyl that over doubled from the 2020 number to the 2021 number, like exploded. So when that's going that far up, that explains why there's thousands of pounds of other things not coming in because they're getting their stuff the other way. I don't understand why they're pushing it so much because it doesn't keep them in business. It actually, well, killing us off keeps them in business and is good for them. Yeah, that is their business. YouTube's going to love me saying that one, but.
Well, my question is it's every month. I don't remember the number. I heard it on the TV the other day. I think it was anywhere from a 20 to a 40% increase month over month, every month on the amount of people coming across the border. A 20 to 30% increase every single month to month.
I have that somewhere actually. Keep going.
Anyways, the whole point with that is you got all these different numerous things. You got all these drugs coming across. You and I both agree. All these diseases that are coming back all of a sudden, guaranteed, that has something to do with it.
They're coming from dumpster fires.
And my other part of it that bothers me is, and I know it's stupid because we all get back to it, but all the money spent on just border bullshit alone, we could have had 40 walls. And we would not be having any of these conversations.
At least not as, at least not as like as bad because that's no matter what, we can't get it all, and they
thing is,
and they have their ways to get
what
around.
What is the Fed's going to do though in another 5 or 6 months? Because you already got one millionaire from Arizona that said, "Dude, here you go. Here, Texas. Here's millions. Build your wall." Literally, the one dude gave millions.
And while we're on the stuff and why we should finish that, beautiful numbers from our friends at CBP. We just keep setting a new record every time I turn around. Single adults in fiscal year 2020 was at 536,792 encounters. Then we went up in 2021 to 1.3 million. And right now we're already sitting at just under 1.1, which means that's going to explode in a record by the end of the year.
So last year we were roughly probably 220 to 230%.
Yeah.
Over 2020.
Family units was 75,000 in 2020. 2021 was 484,000. And we're already up to just under 300,000 right now. Unaccompanied minors.
We'll be at 240% increase this year over last year.
Unaccompanied single minors, 34,000 2020 to 148,000 last year, and we're already sitting at 80, just under 86 and a half. And right now we're already halfway to accompanied minors from our number. We're actually, last year we had 3,024. We're already up to 2,700 for the year right now. And by the way, everyone, the fiscal year doesn't end until what, September, end of October, one of those two. Like we are very far away from when they're going to stop tallying that number. So keep telling us that there isn't a problem, that these numbers aren't real. But they're real, and the more number of people we have to deal with, the more people can sneak across because all of our border agents are all preoccupied by, dealing with hordes of assholes. And people are just sneaking through it. And no matter what, even if there's a wall, guess what? It'll never be 100% complete because we all know they got, cartels have their ways, whether it's underground or whatnot, through tunnels.
Which they always end up having their ways.
But if we at least close up the rest of it, so they have to come through like a checkpoint and all that, gets like
Well, and we
that'll help
talked about
alleviate a large part of the problem.
minus that 451 or 452 miles there in the mountains in Texas.
Where they
There's
can't,
no reason the rest of it doesn't have a wall. No reason.
because we're big, bad, racist
Oh,
people.
You can't say that, oh, it's the natural wildlife, because all they have to do is go to the middle of that border wall, and guess what? There's going to be 450 miles wide open because it's mountainous terrain. They can't put a wall through there without destroying the mountains and potentially causing serious conflict.
No, it's just it's basic. And that comes back to, I mean, people, I hate to break it to you, no, people that don't have any mental health issues are actually like taking really any of these drugs that they're mentioning. And, I mean, again, that comes back to the problem. People take drugs and all that to try to escape their fucked up reality that they live in from, again, many things. You could have depression, PTSD, crazy anxiety issues. You can have all kinds of stuff. But people that don't have any problems aren't running around doing drugs. They're just doing drugs, drinking heavily to get away from their problem and escape having to think about the problem.
That kind of ties into my whole thing last week with the VA. It was like, hey, look, you guys wonder why you have veterans and a suicide rate of more than 20 a day? More than 20 a day. I said, I have friends, Neil. I have other friends.
8,088.
They are gone. They are not coming back because people like you think you can take things and turn it into this, or this, but you don't want to face the reality of, hey, you people suck at your job. Start there. We'll have a lot better situations. Secondly, when you have somebody that doesn't have any mental health issues from the government, that questions anything about the actions or the responses of a veteran towards the VA, they should stop, shut up, turn around, look in the mirror and go, what am I doing wrong?
What are most of them doing wrong? Everything. My experiences, they're all just narcissistic tool bags. They're the common 30 of tools.
But my whole point of
they're just a big ass box with a bunch of more big ass boxes attached to that big ass box, which then gives us 4 or 5 days of going through a bunch of big ass boxes and wanting to run our heads through a wall to make it stop.
And I'm going to be openly honest, because I feel like the border and the Texas shooting stuff kind of, when you talk about the mental health side of things, and I'm not trying to like mix topics, but this. Well, I mean,
so I said they all go together today.
These two really, in this statement, do go together because, one, you have crazy crime happening all along the border because of the border wall not being there and our piss poor policies when it comes to immigration, legally and illegally. So you got that problem. Uvalde, Texas is already maxed out because of the border problem. I'm not excusing the process that was used to go about the shooting. Not all excusing. I will say, though, in reality, in a realistic person, you have to use some common sense and go, oh, wait a minute. What situation did that police chief have to leave or stop dealing with to deal with this? Was he dealing with border shit? Because let's be honest, Steve, that's probably got to be more stressful than some of the combat situations you could be in. Because there's literally idiots everywhere, running everywhere. You got 2 agents sitting in trucks and they got 300 migrants. Tell me they're not outnumbered like tremendously. I'm sorry. The degree of reality for Uvalde, Texas is yes, maybe that police chief should be relieved as chief. Not saying he shouldn't be a cop. Not saying he shouldn't remain on the force.
He should be
simply
fired.
Stating he made a piss poor choice. Lose your title.
Very
you
bad.
Cannot lead when you have those kind of mistakes. Not saying he can't be a good police officer, but when it comes to leading and management of it, he probably shouldn't be doing it.
Don't worry. Like there's but yeah, like I've already kind of talked about it a little. I talked about the response on Friday just because I kept holding in the level of idiot that I read.
Sorry. I know where I was going with the mental health thing. Sorry.
Carry on then.
I screwed you up.
No.
The whole point of that was with that going on with the police chief, I have my other part of the mental health situation. That kid was truly, for the lack of better terms, fucked up in the head.
And the hell shoots their grandmother in the face. That tells you.
He not only shot his grandmother in the face, but willingly went and shot innocent children.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You
start-
deserve to die.
When you start off your day shooting your grandmother in the face and then going shooting.
Exactly. But now that this whole scenario happened, there's the other side of that mental health for that situation. The parents, the mother and father, 100% in this scenario should be held accountable to some form of degree.
Just like the creepy ass kid in Michigan.
Yes.
Sorry, that kid's creepy looking. I'm sorry.
I
don't remember his name. He's creepy looking.
They did go after the parents.
Yeah,
So here,
as I said, they deserved it. You know.
And I give
in that situation. I mean, we read the text. I mean, they knew something sketchy was. I mean, and no one actually did anything between the school.
That was actually, if I remember correctly, the state police that went after that scenario.
Yeah, parents, the kid, the school, like no one really seemed to do anything.
And in that situation, everybody was at fault. The school, the teachers, the parents. Just that was a whole mess up scenario. But my whole point of that is the mental health side is there's no way neither one of them parents knew there was a problem. Obviously, there was a problem, or when it comes to residency, his grandmother would have never been involved. Just putting it in there. All those facts
could just be nuts.
You know what I mean? Like with all those facts, I mean, look, like I'm not gonna deny it. I wasn't living in my house when I turned my parents' house when I turned 18. But I had issues with my father. We had that conversation. Not gonna deny it. But I didn't go batshit crazy. I didn't go shoot nobody. Well, you know what I'm saying. In that manner.
Might have gone and assaulted a few people, but you know, that's another story. They started it. And guess what? I feel that pain.
In my defense, most of them did start that.
In my defense, every single one of them started it. But the big problem with it though, and where it just keeps getting sketchier. Like every time you hear anything about the whole thing, it just gets worse. You know, it started out, then we learn more details about the grandmother, then we learn more detail. Then we learned that it took up to 90 minutes while the cops were sitting outside while people were getting shot doing not a goddamn thing.
I say it like this because I hate when policies do things and cause it to happen, but this is one case where I would fully back and support making an example out of that kid's parents. Make it so people in this country go, whoa, hold on a minute. Hey, you're going to need to stop being a retard because I'm not going to suffer for your idiocracy.
Hey, and I'm going to give Lisa's mother a shout out because all the stuff I've seen, she's just been sitting out on her porch, rosary beads praying since it happened. So at least, I'm just saying, compared to a lot of them, at least she's out there trying to actually figure out what the just happened.
That's very fair. Yeah, that lady has kind of just been sitting.
The other lady, one of the kids, parents in Texas are like, please, Michigan were like, please don't do anything stupid. Like they already knew he was on the verge of doing something really, really dumb, and that's all they did. You never know. Kid.
What the sheriff would say.
Yeah, you never know about the parents. Again, nothing's really come out. We don't know. Grandmother thing, parents saying what mom was. If their work schedule, all like you don't know, and we're still waiting on that. I'm just trying to figure out why the hell it took him damn near 90 minutes to finally try to breach while he was in there shooting people. And wonder how it gets. Well, I know this is just going to keep getting darker. Is the Uvalde Police Department is no longer cooperating with the Texas Department of Public Safety in their investigation, which means the wormhole is going to keep getting deeper and worse and more dumb, and we're going to get angrier the more we read. Because why else would they suddenly? Would they suddenly stop cooperating with the Department of Public Safety down there if there wasn't even more dumb stuff to come out as to how they handled the whole situation? I'm sorry, up to 90 minutes outside the door. Like you could have, how many people could have lived in that amount of time if you just shot the fucker? You have the technology.
Well, my thing is,
and the training. They have the technology and the training to breach that thing and stop them. And you just sat there and listened for that long. Like at the average Marine,
the more details
we go through the damn door. Trust me.
They're making those guys from Border Patrol literally sound like a group of Marines because
okay, ready to watch
they got
this.
there saying, "It's stupid. I'm over this bullshit. We're going in. Have a nice day."
Oh, really? Watch this. Yeah, don't worry. We'll do it. We have solved.
Not waiting on you.
No problem. Yeah. So that's it's going to keep getting so much worse.
Well, I think when the details came out yesterday, the fact that Border Patrol kind of got there and was like, nope, that will hurt everyone.
Yeah,
involved.
that'll hurt. Again, like it just keeps getting. It started out as like this tragedy, then you heard something, then you heard another thing. You're like, then yesterday, and yeah, them no longer cooperating with DPS. What this wormhole is deeper than anyone, and I'm still trying to figure out how all the people online. But well, could it be someone else's? Okay, fine. How did he own around $5,000 worth of firearms? Let's not even count the rounds working
out of the gear,
like working at McDonald's or a Burger King. Or how in the did he actually like? Oh, I'm sorry.
It does not. It does. There's no acceptable excuse or answer to that statement that would defend him having those 2 firearms at that age. I've said
just affording them. Never mind having them. Whatever, but
no offense, but no one under the age 21 should have an assault rifle, minus somebody on active duty who's obviously trained.
Don't go and use their talking points. There's no such thing. There's no such thing.
Like I do.
There's no such thing as an assault rifle. And according to them, everything's an assault weapon now. I mean,
well, I don't think
we shouldn't have. Hey, you said it. You said it. Then you sound like them, and
fuck them. They can stop using.
Everything's a weapon of war. They shouldn't have weapons of war.
That's a stupid statement.
Like what? So
weapon of war, Joe Biden.
So I can't have knives or pistols or. Should probably take my knees, fists, and elbows away. Those are what. Trust me, we've been trained for war. When they train you, whatever you can get your hands on.
But no, my whole point of that was though is you like here you cannot buy a pistol unless 21. Here, under state laws in Michigan, anything that would be considered an assault rifle body. Now that's anything with an AR-15 based structure, okay? Anything along those lines is still considered under pistol laws here. You have to be 21. You have to have a license to buy it. And you can't even carry one here unless it's open carry. And even that's kind of going to get you in trouble. But that's beside the point. When I say it's going to get you in trouble here, it won't get you in trouble necessarily with the cops open carrying. In the state of Michigan, people are stupid. So there's a good chance you're going to run with some libtard south of Mount Pleasant that's going to go, oh, you can't. And then shit's going to hit the fan. Moving on. Anyways.
Whitmer's still won. That sums up the intelligence level of the state of Michigan.
And that's in 5 counties.
Oh, we went from Granholm. You got Granholm. And then Whitmer.
And I had Peters.
Yeah, it's just
still a freaking senator. Before that, we had what's his face? What's the cricket? Snyder. Literally got charged for.
Yeah, let's say like he's just in a land of stupid, but I don't know. It worked out okay for Kyle Rittenhouse.
But that's because it was in Wisconsin and their laws.
Well, but I'm just saying similar. He was nowhere near 18, and I mean 21, nowhere near 21. Guess what? He did it perfectly fine.
But somebody.
You know why? Because crazy people attacked him with guns. By the way, felons that had guns that weren't supposed to be anywhere near guns, and he didn't point his gun at anyone, which they admitted.
I still love that one guy.
Which they still admitted on the stand. Like not until I pointed mine at him. Like your star witness just said that. Just actually verbatim just said it was self-defense. Like your star witness just okay, that was, but like it's and really no matter what, I mean the kids.
Anyways, what I was saying,
it's not gonna end well.
Is once you get to the understanding of a gun cannot kill a person. Once you have that understanding, which anyone that questions that, all you have to say is, look at the speech Joe Biden gave. He stood next to a locked firearm for 45, 47 minutes, whatever it was. It might have been 42 now, I think.
I don't know what they put him in.
My whole point was for 3/4 of an hour, he stood next to a unmanned pistol. It never shot a soul. So when people say guns kill people, I want to go, no, your ignorance kills people.
What are the odds they want to call me now? What are the odds?
What town?
Fayetteville, North Carolina, VA hospital. What are the odds they want like sit around and do it? Go.
Probably my fault.
Leave a message. Well, I just saw my doctor last Wednesday. I never thought they'd like Tuesday. It's been 8 days. I never thought I'd actually get a phone call. This never get a
The mental health side of the firearm, though, is the problem. People need to understand that a gun cannot just kill a person. You have to have an individual standing behind it to operate their brain to function a finger to pull the trigger. Triggers minus certain stupid, screwed up incidents can't just shoot themselves. Minus, like I said, certain incidents because you could drop one the right way that can go off. That's different. Minus that scenario, guns don't just shoot themselves. And even then, that still took a stupid person dropping it. So my whole point is a gun can't shoot nobody. A person can shoot something all day long. Just like a knife can't kill someone. A person behind the knife can kill somebody all day long.
It happens a lot. My
fist by itself can't kill somebody. I promise you, if I chose to, I could if I hit somebody.
Hard enough.
But my fist itself ain't at fault.
Yeah, it's a psychopath swinging.
There's got to be a human brain behind the action. And until you can address that, you can't address gun problems. You can't address the brain problem. You can't address the border problems. It just keeps going.
So it's
Chicago. Vicious. Come on. We're speaking of Texas shooting. We got it.
Hey, don't worry. We're getting there.
Border stuff and then blow it off to talk about gun control and all this. I get bothered by it because you look at Chicago, just Chicago alone.
Don't worry, I have those numbers.
I mean, all I'm saying is you just look at those numbers alone. You have a group of people who have truly eliminated the right to own a firearm in that whole entire region. Because Chicago is more than just one municipality.
Yeah.
With that being said, you have a group of idiots that have taken their own gun rights away to better crime. Well, I'm sorry. Let's take your crime numbers and let's go to Escanaba and tell me the numbers are the same, because they're not going to be.
And they got lots of guns up there.
That is my fucking point. Where there's guns legally, there's less stupid.
Hey, we'll tell that to the Bidens, the Betos, the Obamas,
and they all
the media, anyone that listens to the media.
It pisses me off because every one of those mass shooting scenarios, Columbine, they always bring up Santa Fe, which if you really want to talk about shootings, that in my mind did not meet other shooting standards, but whatever. They want to consider that a huge, horrible one too. Fine.
Hey.
All those shootings are bad, period. Morally wrong, period.
Yep, they don't care.
And that all boils down to a human. When you have no morals, the gun doesn't have a moral one way or the other. The gun says, I know one thing, I shoot. You pull my trigger, I shoot a fucking bullet. That's how I work.
It will kill. Thank you, Doug. Even though it has swords and axes and knives have nothing to do with this situation right now, but thank you. It will kill. It takes a person to make it kill.
Exactly. Just like you want to talk about, and there's another side that you can do. What was that guy's name? George Floyd. That cop, his knee didn't choose to kill that guy. His brain and his people problem chose him to keep that knee.
And to get there, thanks again one more time to Barack Obama for telling us while we mourn the families in Uvalde, Texas, let's not forget it's the 2-year anniversary of George Floyd, and then gave up a whole bunch of extra stuff at the end. Just tweet.
Well, I only was given
about systemic racism and everything else, because heaven forbid we could actually just mourn the kids. No, they get one sentence, and George Floyd's systemic racism gets 3 or 4 tweets just to, carry on that problem, which then incites more hate, which then pisses everyone off and keeps us here.
And then the other one, where that guy was running from the cops and then jumped in the car with his kid in there and they shot him in the car. They blame the cops for the mental trauma that kid's going to take. No. Then cops made a choice to save that kid, kill the dude. They made a mental choice.
By the way,
what was he going to do?
By the way,
the other side of
that guy was a felon that shouldn't have been anywhere near where he was before the cops came.
So that brings me to the next point I was going to get at. once you get past that part and going, okay, the cops didn't choose for that guy to do wrong. They just chose to stop and eliminate the situation. So they did that, right? The fault for any trauma that little girl receives for the rest of her life, the fault of any trauma for any other individual in that area. And I'm thinking that was in Chicago, was it not? Was that one not in Chicago?
Not the one with the kid. I thought that was in
Or is that?
I thought that was Jacob Blake in Wisconsin.
That one might have been. My whole point with that.
Don't worry. Oh, don't worry. Kamala and them showed up and said he was their hero and shook his hand and all that. Yeah. They did it. They make their own graves. I just happened to kick them into it. Make your bed. I kick you, whatever the hell you want to be kicked into. You make your beds, you make your graves, and then you tell us that we're all crazy.
Now that
it never happened.
I have a situation for you just happened here in the last few weeks.
Well, it's Jackson,
all parties
Michigan.
Involved are white people.
Hey, just like it's like Kyle Rittenhouse.
None of this situation has made the news, other than one part of it, and you'll probably remember that particular part.
Kyle Rittenhouse did, because that was white supremacy somehow.
Oh yeah, and every single person was white.
A white kid taking out white people. That's not white supremacy. But anyways, carry on. What do I know?
Not to be confused with the country music artist Tracy Lawrence, a gentleman from Springport, Michigan.
I never
shot
known
three
that was a country
individuals are shot and injured at. I don't remember how many he injured. They killed one of them. Anyways, he shot these kids that were breaking into his property and coming in his house. Like they were clearly vandalizing, coming to steal shit without prejudice. He kept one ran away, two continued forward. Well, he shot him. Self-defense, he's on his property, up the country, you're nowhere near a quick return on cops showing up. The dude took it into his own hands, used self-defense per the state law in Michigan. He was charged with murder and convicted. Cop, Hillsdale, Michigan. I haven't found out what department he was part of yet. Situation happened in Hillsdale, Michigan. Shoots an unarmed dude with mental health problems. That wasn't necessarily like a physical huge threat because he wasn't the biggest of persons. We'll leave it there. Shot him. The cop also was in the military. So you're telling me this dude couldn't have taken somebody physically on without a firearm to disarm and diffuse the situation without shooting? I'm gonna tell you right now that's bullshit. Simple combat martial arts from the service will help you situationally in that case. Now, if he didn't listen, that's on his ass.
Depending on what branch you're with.
I said if he didn't listen, that's on his ass. Because even the other branches have it. It's just a matter of whether they listen or not. Now, granted, the other branches don't enforce it like some branches, but
the Army also doesn't shoot past 200 yards. You're welcome, guys.
We had to do it 500 meters.
We started. We start there, but that's where we start, and then we just keep going that way. By the way,
I think they're using ACOG
from 3 to they are, but from 3 to 500 meters, that's a hell of a long walk.
With iron sights, I got pretty good at that.
Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for not having glasses. Good job. But
my whole point of it is that whole scenario. A simple civilian dude with no military background, no police background, followed the state law, which I can quote word for word, which it is. You had the legal right to use lethal force in the state of Michigan for the defense of you, your family, and your canine. That's the only 3 cases where you can shoot to kill, is if a physical threat or harm is posed. Those kids were running to his house, dude, coming at him. I'm sorry, I'd have killed all 3 of them. But I'm not in his situation. So that also brings back the fact I have military side of it. So I probably actually wouldn't have shot them. I probably would have physically went after him, but that's just me. I like a challenge. Anywho, moving on from that, the gentleman in Hillsdale, nothing's happened to this dude. He's sitting down there free as a freaking bird right now. He can go out to practice and get food. Fill me in. I need somebody to explain that one to me. There is no acceptable excuse other than the fact that maybe some of these are ass kicked. Because Tracy Lawrence is going to sit in prison until he's dead. The guy was 62 or 65 when he went to prison. He'll die before he gets out. The fucked up part is it's not his fault and he shouldn't be. 25, 30 years from now, after he's dead and they realize they made a mistake, they'll own it. But it'll be in some paragraph attached to something 200 pages in. Anyways, moving on from that. It's messed up. So people that talk about police reform and this and that, getting rid of guns, why don't we get rid of people? The people is the problem, not the gun.
Don't worry, I have a quote later that you're gonna love.
Right there. The
No.
gentleman followed the state law as a civilian and went to prison.
Hey, just a quick sidebar. I mean, look at all the loss that. Yeah, here's that guy, jail, the cop. Good. You and me lied to the FBI, screwed, no matter what, by a jury. Sussman, literally, like the jury had what, 2 people that donated to Hillary, one that donated
There was
to
4
AOC.
people connected in some way,
Yeah, on the jury. Then there was the judge who was like, there is so much that like that pretty much shows our legal system.
Yeah, but he can take it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but that's look how useless they are. But I'm just saying, like, what there's
better chance there than what he does where he was
I'm
at.
just saying, there's 2 different, sides of things. It depends on what state you're in as to which. Yeah, some states it's right down the middle.
yeah.
Some states it's
It depends
completely
on counties
corrupt.
too, not
Yeah.
just states.
Yeah, like so that's all.
That is how corrupt Jackson County is. Now you go to the next 2 counties. Calhoun County is nowhere near as corrupt as any other county in this state.
But yeah,
And you go to the other side, there's Ann Arbor, and they're not quite as nice as Calhoun County. They're nowhere near as corrupt as their neighbors.
it's just like, look at some places in PA and then get Philadelphia and those like 3 surrounding ones, like complete sandwiches of crime and corruptness. And then you go to the rest of it, and for some reason, it's not near it, like near the big cities where all the big universities, like, I mean, Penn is way lost their mind. There's
And if you know how to set a small animal trap for fur harvesting, don't go to York, Pennsylvania.
Man, I don't care what you have to do. Don't go to York, Pennsylvania. I don't give a fuck what you're trying to.
You know how to set a conibear trap. Do not go to York, Pennsylvania.
I just don't recommend ever going to York, Pennsylvania, no matter what you want to do. If you want Subway, wait till the next damn exit and find something else.
Just forget Subway. If you figure out near York that you want Subway, pick something else. Go to the next exit.
Drive to the next exit. Go to the Wawa or the Sheets. Get a good sandwich. Something
fresh.
Go
to Wawa.
Something freshly made, right? Like, don't. But you'll step foot in York and
don't go to York.
You'll want to just be dead. But now I can finally ask, you got off your soapbox for a second. Lots of mass shootings. And their definition, I think, is like everyone, look how many mass shootings we have compared. Like, your literal definition is 3 or more people injured in it, not including how many of those happen in Chicago every day. Just for example, and a few people that like to argue with me, like there were people on there, and I'm like, you guys are so like, and I showed restraint, and I am yet to cuss anybody out, but that's because it's so easy, loopholes to get guns in Indiana. I still want to know what all these loopholes are. Like, you guys just love talking.
There is no loopholes.
I know, but even dumber, they use the loopholes to get the guns in Indiana to take them back to Chicago. Like, so if there's all these loopholes in Indiana, why is there more shootings in Chicago, than like the whole state of Indiana? Why, there'd be a problem there too if that was why.
There's a way bigger drug problem in Indiana than there is in Chicago.
Yeah, but if that was the case, wouldn't
they just prove themselves wrong?
Wouldn't they be the homicide capital of the country, or at least somewhere in the top 10? If that's what it was, it defeats all their arguments. And
because I'm serious.
It kills. Oh, I know it kills all of their things, but again, it kills everything that everyone ever tries to tell you. But again, shootings and like all stabbings, all kinds of stuff, not including, suicide. If we get to, shootings, yes, the number has gone up. No one's ever going to deny that the number, the last couple of years, we were on a good path. 2017, we were just under 16,000. 2018, we were just under 15,000. 2019, just under 15 and a half. 2020 jumped up to 19.5. But look at everything that was happening in, I mean, 20 riots, all hell breaking loose. All kinds of people were calling the cops for all kinds of stuff because all kinds of people were being idiots. But, from 2020 and 19.5 to 2021, it jumped up to 29.9. Like the numbers, what? Completely going up. We have active shooter incidents. In 2000, it was at 3. 2020 was at 40. Again, look at all the idiocy happening. But then it still jumped up to 61 in 2021. Mass shootings, 3 or more people, which again, that's every single day in Chicago. But the hell do I know? But if you take these, like, here's the what, if you take these out of here, like people that were injured in the shooting incidents, what? Chicago, the number for shooting and injured and all the way between September 29th, 2018 and May 24th, 2022 is 812. All the way down to second, which was Philly at 367. Like Chicago over doubled the next closest thing that they have. In the top 10 ones, Chicago, Philly, New York City, Baltimore, Houston, DC, New Orleans, St. Louis, Atlanta, and Detroit. Can someone tell me who runs those? Who's in charge of those?
Detroit's on there and not Jackson?
Yeah, who's on top of who's on top? Who runs those places? Hold on, what party with their shitty
Friends
with their garbage crime laws in all of those places, and then everyone says, why don't we just get rid of, like, if we got, like, get rid of the guns, the problems will go away. And I told someone, what, you do realize there's like places that there are people that don't have guns, what, the shootings go away. Like, one, only the criminals have gun. Two, did you see Australia during the COVID lockdowns when they were literally, someone stepped outside their house, they were armed, like telling them to get their asses back in their house. And 3, when you tell me that I'm funny when I say things like crazy people be crazy people, what people just stab the shit, what they happen, all that, the mass stabbings, you're going to take over killing, right? You're funny. Let's see. Top 10 countries, the most stabbings in 2019. Brazil, 9,900. South Africa, last time I checked, that's the apartheid thing. What there's not, yeah. They're at 9,400. India was at 8,900. Russia, that's Russia. I'm sure 6,300 is actually an understatement because
that's probably a low number.
It's Russia. Philippines, 55. Nigeria, 5,000. Mexico, 4,600. China, which doesn't have any guns. Yeah, they had 4,600. Pakistan, that doesn't even count. Colombia, 3,100. But then there's the U.S., 1,476.
So what's the shooting numbers for China?
Oh, those things are like non-existent because you can't have guns. The only people that can have guns are people that are, have sportsman licenses to do all of that. Like, that's it. Kind of like Japan. But there's some countries in there that I mentioned, like, there's shatter all of our numbers when it comes. Why does that one triple and quadruple compared to our numbers? Wait, they don't have any guns and crazy people, or they have mass people running people over. And we also have the problem here, like people that shouldn't have got let out, like the guy that ran over all the people in that Christmas parade thing. Why? Because he shouldn't have been out of jail because all his violent crimes. He had a very long track record. They let him out. He couldn't get a gun or anything. So he just went and ran over a bunch of people after, I'm pretty sure, he got into a domestic with his wife because he's.
Yeah, he did. It was just prior to him hitting those people, he got into an argument. And that was why he wanted to run her over.
Because he's bad.
Did they have a kid too that he was going to run over? I feel like there was a kid involved with that statement he made.
Yes, they're batshit crazy. And if you take those out of the equation, we go from being like number 1 for mass shootings to like, in the 30s and 40s. If you just take out our 10 hotbeds, and by the way, they're very true. And let's go mass shootings by years. Total 1982. There was one mass shooting with 8 killed and 3 wounded. You could pick out a number between 1982 and now. A year. Let's pick a year.
1991.
1991. 3 mass shootings with 32 killed and 26 wounded, according to our actual crime stats, which are violently underdone, but violently. And there was a lot, and it's funny how it went from 766, all these. In 2017, there was 11 with 117 killed and 463 wounded, but you got to remember that was Las Vegas was that year when the number, like the graph of people that got, like, that was a big number. 2018 there was 12, 2019 there was down to 10, 2020 there was 2, which is saying something with how crazy everything was in 2020. And it's hilarious because if you look at 2021, they say there's only 4. That, by their definition, even though you look at all places, I never thought I'd be saying anything nice about NPR. Like literally never thought I'd say anything nice about NPR. But for them to say that there was, by the definition, like, well, we've only had 4 this year. Well, according to NPR, very, very, very left leaning. There was 14 over Memorial Day weekend alone, and 213 this year. It's amazing how they only count certain ones, because all the other ones don't matter. They only count the ones that fit their agenda. They don't mention all the other ones where it's literally crazy people or minorities just killing each other. Because again, you take Chicago out of the equation, like hundreds of them go away. Because there's mass shootings in Chicago, like especially Memorial Day. Memorial Day is always a big one. Labor Day, 4th of July, all of those, holiday times, like they just escalate and spike like a son of a bitch. But I do have to give NPR, which I never thought I'd say, I have to give NPR credit for at least actually saying, no, bro, what? It's not at 4 this year. It's 213. There was 14 over Memorial Day weekend alone. Never again. Look at everything NPR's like. They're very left leaning, like most of our government organizations have been. Commie. They're just, but NPR saying that, at least they have the balls to come out and say, yeah, it's not only at 4. So how about we stop having the numbers so low, and the numbers were low even under Trump. They just made sure they covered every single anything. Yeah, and that's what. But his numbers weren't even that low, like as low as they said they were. Like I'm one of his. And guess what? He's still like his numbers. They even underinflated, like they deflated those numbers too. But if these are the numbers, if you take all the big shit sandwiches out of the country, ergo Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, Houston, Knoxville, and that, like all of the, like if you take Chattanooga, if you take all, that's when they take all of the high crime areas out. It's like, what? This is too, like, actually there's a very large problem. You guys just don't like to talk about all the ones and how, the spike in black on black crimes. And in fact, the number in Chicago, like I think 14, most of those are probably in Chicago.
If you want to have an indication of homeless people problems, let's do that.
Oh, don't worry. They have 9. They have 8 of the top 10.
Are in cities. Let's refer to homeless people. What cities have homeless people? Well, let's list them. And we don't even have to do American cities. Let's go to Canada. You got one right in Toronto. Boom. That city, ran by Democrats or Democratic Socialists, whatever you want to call it there in the parliament, they have a lot of homeless people. Guess what they also are? Not right, because they go down their socialist path, which, excuse me, people, but socialists are communists. Just pointing that out. When you all go down a socialist path, such as the people in Toronto, you're going to have homeless people. You have Jackson, Michigan. Now I can compare a country outside of ours to one inside of our country. Jackson, Michigan, you go right across the road behind my house, which if you want to talk about back here, we also had a shooting right back here. So I can speak firsthand. Go right across that road. All the homeless people have a hotel room they can go to right there, take showers for free, wash their clothes for free. You wonder why we have problems. Nobody's got the balls to stand up and say, hey, no.
And if you look at the actual numbers, which I've done, I know you don't have that much, because I did a whole thing on it. 8 of the top 10 cities in the country with homeless people are run by Democrats. 2 of them run by independents. Just like shootings and overdoses and drug problems and crime problems and everything else seem to be run by, guess what, people? Stop having compassion for the criminal. Lock their asses up.
If you think about it too, though,
you can solve the problems if you spend
every
money.
Country you listed, minus China and Japan, are underdeveloped countries. I don't care what people say. Mexico is an underdeveloped country.
Oh yeah, we all know that.
I have people argue that with me, but
India,
I'm sorry, but if you know how to read, they're an underdeveloped country.
India is really big and does a lot of tech stuff, but most of the country
give them a couple of years, they won't be undeveloped.
Yeah. India is, though, very, like, it's so big, a lot of it is violently.
Well, I'm not saying that
no, I was just saying, like, let's not forget that part. They're super, like, where they're developed, they're really developed. Where they are not developed, they make some
They're
places
really
here
not
look. They make some places here look like the Shangri-La.
But
They're
all
really.
I was going to say though is you take most of them countries, they're underdeveloped. So I mean, you want to know why they don't have mass shootings there? Because they don't have the money there. They don't have the access to guns there. They can't even get guns in there unless you're work with some form of a cartel or a communist outfit or a corrupt NGO. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be part of something that legitimately illegally brings that stuff there. Otherwise, you're not getting one in those countries.
Yeah.
Except for South Africa. I'm not 100% sure on their firearm laws. I'm going to check into those.
Well, I'm sure they suck.
I don't know enough about their gun laws to say anything else.
Yeah, I just know they're on the list. But for the way the government has been, as far as we know, that I'm sure they have some, say, odd or sketchy to say the least. I'm sure there has to be. We cannot confirm that. Yeah, but they're kind of still. There's a lot of things that they're.
They believe in a republic more there than a lot of the other countries are there. That's the only reason why I say I don't know if I should comment on that.
Well, I'm just going to say, I bet you it's sketchy. There's my thing. I bet you there's a lot of weird, sketchy details just because of it being South Africa. I bet you there's some weird.
I'm going to read it and go.
Weird stuff in there that they're on the list for, stabbings, which I mean, because everyone can get a knife. If we can get a knife, like the crazy people. And everyone telling me that which gets us to the big one, which is all the responses from Beto O'Rourke. Thanks, Beto, for every bad thing mean thing. Fine. Every truthful thing we've said about you that everyone jumps on our case for, you jumping up, doing that, you Kanyeing that press conference about dead people. You pretty much proved anything that any of us
I would
ever said about you. What you actually made yourself look way worse than any of us ever could have in one flash, because you're just a narcissist and it had nothing to do with that. You had to make it all about you. Like Obama giving them one sentence and don't forget about George Floyd and how racist everything is. Like you had to just steal it and make it about you and whatever you're trying to push, and not actually, I don't know, do anything to solve the problem. Just like Joe, he said, families are going to need all kinds of help. Didn't offer any help.
Well, that's just
tell him how to get any help. He just,
I don't remember who was doing that interview in reference to that situation, but they were interviewing Greg Abbott and they asked him, what's your feelings on the elections and going up against Beto O'Rourke? And he's just like, I don't care.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything right now. But, again, Beto, Biden, Obama, other politicians. He
is dumb.
The media and all their idiots. And I didn't have this conversation with Drew at all, but that's because, told him my shoulder hurt. Why? As we were just sitting there talking, like, how you been? Oh, my shoulder hurts. Otherwise, I'm good. Why? I got a shot. Well, COVID? No, tetanus shot. No, and then he went on his tirade. Of course, I'll let him pump me full of everything else, but it won't get that. But I make a lot of sense. So I very nicely said, well, we probably haven't argued about it. Like, I got a tetanus shot and I gave myself blood thinners after I got Humpty Dumpty put back together again, was in a wheelchair so I didn't clot and die. Otherwise, last time I had a shot was when Marine Corps was like, here, what? That flu mist and just gulp. Yeah, so
but what you're saying right there, though,
people on his side, like they're so dumb. They all jump right to it's the gun, it's the gun, it's the gun.
He's one of those that steps up and supports the same bullshit that the Biden administration is doing and all that. My problem with it is, and this is kind of a side note, but it goes in line with what we're saying.
This is the show of side notes.
I just forgot what I was gonna say.
There you go. See, it's the show of side notes, forgetting things and picking it back up 20 minutes later and confusing people.
Beto O'Rourke. He supports this policy. He supports that policy. And then you move on. What were we just talking about before we started talking about Beto O'Rourke?
There's still on shootings and guns and all over the world stuff and shootings. And
they go through, they promote these policies. And then, like Joe Biden, people vote for them. Then they have buyer's remorse. They come back to it and then they vote for something different. One, I really feel like people in this country don't understand that if you're going to vote for someone, whatever they do, it's going to take 6 years from that day before it truly is implemented. Why do you think we're failing 100% now? Oh, I wonder why. What was implemented roughly 7 to 9 years ago. 100% implemented. Obamacare was kicking it.
And their website was beautiful, by the way.
I'm just putting that out there.
Wait for
There's
it.
something else I was going to say, and I'll think of it in a minute.
Wait for it that long, and then your website can't even function like at all, basic function. So good on you, buddy. But unless you're causing crazy inflation and spending, and as we mentioned Ukraine earlier, as we're on this mental health kick, I mean, it's not, I mean, yeah, fuck it. It relates. If we could spend $54 billion on other countries' bullshit, now granted, it's humanitarian aid and all, like I'll give like whatever. It's funny, Elon Musk spends 44, makes an offer of 44 billion to buy, Twitter, and everyone says, why didn't you solve world hunger? And we spend 54 over there, and we have this mental health thing. They haven't actually put anything towards actually securing the schools, which they could do with a lot less than $54 billion if they actually just, put forth a little bit of effort, and the problem would go away instead of them saying, how many times do I have to stand up here and do this throughout the year? So I don't know how many times have you not done a thing about it. You just use a lot of big words and go after school and go after the guns like it's not a criminal or an asshole problem. Sorry, it's not a gun problem. It's mental health and crime. And if you wanted to secure the schools, guess what? One entry point, lock doors, reinforce the doors, bulletproof glass, have some armed veterans there, but you could do all kinds of things. And everyone says, oh, you're just going after that. Well, instead of because you're afraid to go after the guns, there's 400 plus million guns in the country. There's 20 some thousand homicides with guns every year. We do not have a fucking gun problem. If we had a gun problem, there wouldn't be any people left in the country. There's more guns than people by tens of millions. It's not a gun problem. It is an asshole problem. And anyone that wants to make the argument and say it's just about guns, 400 million, 20 some thousand. If you take the 8,000 out of that, at least, that's all suicides that count as the deaths, which means it's down into around 20,000 or so that are actual murders. But it is not a gun problem. It is an asshole problem. It is a cashless bail problem. It's letting people out like the guy that ran over all the people in California problem.
Yeah.
If we actually took care of, and we took away the anti-crime unit in New York City, de Blasio did, guess what? Crime went up. There was no one to take illegal guns off the streets. The problem got really, really bad when they got rid of the plainclothes because it was racist. And now shootings are up and everyone's going, what the hell? Well, people are shooting people in broad daylight. Well, that's what happens when there's not a whole entire unit whose sole purpose is to get guns and criminals and crazy crime and all that organized crime off the streets. I know. Super hard. Who would ever understand that? God, I hate stupid people. Like, not even stupid. Like, never mind. I'll just leave it at stupid. Any other word I would say is gonna, you know what? Your ignorance is astounding.
Okay.
Shut up, kid. No one asked you.
Okay.
I'm gonna break you. God. Just because of the pitch of your voice picking up in my microphone, right in my ear, touching my eardrum, like my headphones. That one woke me up. Thank you. I'm guessing the Brantley, one of you two savages. Yeah, see, the pitch of that voice. I thought so. Right in touching my eardrum. Anyway, carry on. My eardrum. Like,
Joe Biden, they've pushed this, they pushed that, they pushed this. But if you really want to talk about this, you go back to the 90s and everybody that was involved with the crime bill. You were so promoting of that, Joe. Why did it get? Why? If it was so good and you were so good at what you do, why at the 10-year mark did it get lifted? Oh, because it wasn't a good bill. You clearly didn't know what you were doing, and it failed.
Hey, it did what he wanted. It mass incarcerated all those people that he says he loves now. As who got screwed by it? They did exponentially. Remember, they are, he pretty much said they're immoral sociopaths they have no moral compass. He said all kinds of nice things about extreme predators with no moral compass. There you go. That's the guy running the country right now that apparently loves all of you. Just like
all you got to do is simply look at him and you go, hey, you want to talk about morals there, Joe? How much money from Mexico only did your son get? You can't talk about that number.
I'm saying, like, he wrote the crime bill. racial jungle thing for
Nothing
schools.
changed. Nothing.
Gay people. He didn't like gay people until they were running again. And they saw they were losing that vote. So suddenly, yeah, they loved everyone. Like suddenly they were very inclusive in loving them, even though literally in 2008 and 9, he still said, no, they shouldn't have any rights. Like he was a very, hateful, miserable guy. And he's the one that did it all. And he's just been gun. They all talking about guns, but like you guys demonized police, made everyone hate them, told everyone what they're better to run because and resist because otherwise they're gonna die, even though that's why they die. And believe it or not, just listen. It ends up way nicer if you just shut the fuck up, suck it up, and then go to court because 90% of the time the cop doesn't even show up. And you'll walk like nothing happened. What? Don't be an ass. Just listen. Yeah, cashless bonds and all the other stuff I mentioned doesn't help. But here's a good quote on gun control. You'll like this one. You're fond of this guy. He's your friend. You won't get gun control by disarming law-abiding citizens. There's only one way to get real gun control. Disarm the thugs and the criminals, lock them up, and if you don't actually throw away the key, at least lose it for a long time. It's a nasty truth, but those who seek to inflict harm are not fazed by gun controllers. I happen to know this from experience. That would come from that guy on the screen, who I'm pretty sure you can't make out from that distance, but that would be one Ronald Reagan. You are welcome, America. Don't disarm everyone else. Like that's not that.
Look at that dude in that church shooting a couple weeks ago.
I look at the guy in the church shooting in Texas like a few years ago. He popped up and just shot the guy.
Stood up, done. No more dead people.
Yeah, good people with guns. Turns out they're way better at stopping bad people with guns. Turns out, especially with reaction time and then them standing outside for an hour and a half, and all those other things, which I'm sure we're going to keep coming out. But again, there's like 400 plus. If they say at least 400 million, we're probably way over 400 million firearms. And if you take it like again, 8 to 10,000 or so out, because we lose about 8,100 veterans a year to suicide. I'm sure that they're not all guns, but then there's other people that are still committing suicide with them. You take 10 plus thousand away from gun deaths. I mean, there's really nothing, which proves that the 400 million aren't the problem. It's the people that are felons that aren't supposed to have guns that are committing felonies. And I keep arguing people like, so if you make it illegal, what the felons are going to just turn their stuff in and stop being felons.
And the stupid part of this is that they want to really have an argument about if guns kill people. I'm going to give an example. I want you, one, if that's the case, explain to me how Ted Nugent went through trouble and was able to get a license to legally own a 50 caliber machine gun. Secondly, on top of that, how come this machine gun doesn't kill people?
Firearms just happen to be there. And remember, they're also trying to work on that bill so people that lose someone due to a gun can then sue the gun manufacturer.
What's that crybaby's name? That's a senator.
That's a
great senator, congressman. The dude that cries all the time. Not Booker, the other one.
Oh, I can see his face. Booker sucks too, by the way.
Kissinger,
Kissinger. Henry Kissinger.
That idiot. He needs to just stop.
He is an idiot. He's an actual idiot. That's not even like he's actually physically, he's just, dumb. And doesn't take much to actually see it. Again, just look at this.
Peter Martin stopped going on TV and doing it.
What you gotta do is just look at the actual numbers, and they defeat everything you're saying. And again, and we're like, what? They'll turn like it'll what? Get rid of the guns, the crime problem will go away. Like you do realize it's a felony to shoot somebody, right? Like people are still doing that all the time. What? Most of these guys are felons. They're not supposed to have guns anyway. So you think they're just going to be like, here you go. What? That actually gives them an incentive because there will be no one to stop them from doing whatever the fuck they want. And if you actually think that getting rid of the guns will get rid of the problem, you are actually physically stupid. Sorry, there's people that have like mental disabilities, cognitive issues. I have cognitive issues. I pretty much can put 2 and 2 together. And so can a lot of people that have cognitive and all kinds of other things, from head injuries, born, whatever, they could be born with all that. Most of them understand too. Like 2 + 2 = 4.
I have issues of my own, and I know
I have lots of
issues.
Person needs their.
Yeah.
And Yeah, another big one, just really ending it all for me is the people that were you didn't see it because heaven forbid you just get on social media, so I have someone backing me up. So it's not just a non-stop, just okay, dummy, what? Except I stay nice and calm, then you could actually physically see their head explode with the response, which does at least make it worth it. Easy, fella. Like it's just called you a fella. Like, but damn, kids, calm down. But it's
They
just
don't.
a word. But telling someone when I say it's a mental health and a crime problem, not a gun problem, and then immediately attacking them, and saying that obviously I don't, that I'm just blinded. I'm just have my blind patriotism, so I'm just supporting guns. Like there's over 400 million plus, and that I don't care about mental health or any of it. Like you should probably know who you're talking to for one, and two, when you're just blindly going after the guns when the crime doesn't mean anything, don't you ever even tell anyone, like apparently you don't care. Lost more people. I'm almost out of toes. Ran out of fingers. Running out of toes. People that have off
We've
themselves due
lost
to
more.
mental health issues. I have
We've
mental health
lost more guys that we knew.
issues. A lot of us know people or suffer from some kind of mental health issue.
Hit by somebody who was drunk
No.
or committing suicide. We've lost
No.
more people from our collective group since we've been out.
It's just blind patriotism. Like I hate to break it to everybody, it's just blind ignorance to say that it's not a mental health and a crime issue and that we just don't care. We're blindly patriotic. We're just blindly patriotic towards our guns. It's like there's 400 million plus. There's under like 30,000 shooting victims a year. You're just blindly dumb and don't give a fuck what the stats say. And Jesse's really, really, really tired of having to tell you the same thing and post. But how about you just actually look something up or learn how to read? How about you do that and stop telling me that I'm blinded by my patriotism and I don't care about mental health? Because you know what? Especially maybe it's because it was Memorial Day weekend and I was just a little, and I just didn't want to deal with it. But maybe it's because you guys are just fucking idiots and you don't actually read anything. You just you're just like Drew, who hopefully one day listens to all these and he goes, damn, you're a dick. Yes, I am. But at least I'm not stupid.
I wish all those idiots would just go to a cemetery on Memorial Day and just walk by, place some flags,
see how many
headstones. Tell me if you feel the same way when you're done reading those.
Go on Memorial Day, because all you'll see is crying families and all that. Like what? There's
the guys out there hunched over headstones going,
bawling their eyes out. Please, actually learn how to read. That's my big one. Learn to fucking read. It has nothing to do with guns. It is a criminal, and the fact that we violently undercharge people anymore because we were victimizing someone that shot 13 people. I know. How dare we think he should stay in jail as long as he should? I know. Terrible. Someone's committing a drive-by shooting, and I'm sorry. We think that criminals should be held up and locked to them. It shouldn't be letting them out, or people like the fucking new Supreme Court justice that says she sympathizes with pedophiles and she wishes she didn't have to lock them up as long. People like that need to go and stop sympathizing for people that are committing violent, disturbing, disgusting acts, which cause even more mental health problems. And things will go away. It's amazing how much they've exploded since everyone had some kind of mental disorder. Everyone was on Ritalin or hyped up on something because parents just didn't want to be parents anymore because they're lazy pieces of shit. So everyone had a mental disorder. And now look at all, I don't know. Guess what? The more they push all this stupid shit in schools and the earlier they're pushing all this transgender, everything that they're pushing, we've seen it in kindergartens. They've proven that it's actually happened for all you detractors out there saying they don't have it there. It's been proven. People read the books that they get from their 6-year-old from the school library. It's out there. It's real. It's funny, the number of people that keep getting pushed into this stuff and the number of transgenders and all this stuff that keeps getting pushed down people's throats. It's funny how the adolescent suicide rate is skyrocketed. The farther you push it, the more this happens. Just like school shootings, the more stupid shit you push, the higher the number gets. But there's no correlation with that and the mental health harm they're doing to anything. No, there's nothing. But it's just, it's the gun's fault. You stupid sacks of shit. It's all a purpose. It's all on purpose. You all fucking worthless sacks of dog shit. Learn to read.
When you were talking about the Indiana, Illinois thing, I just remember what the other thing I was going to say was. When you were talking about that, what I was going to say is people ask why there's no gun problems in Indiana. the key thing that no other state we've talked about does have that they do, they not only believe in God, they'll make you have the fear of God because they'll kill you there. They will have you dead. They put you on death row and you die. They do that in Indiana. They will kill you.
By the way, everyone, how about we actually, like, when people are on death row, how
Indiana
about we
will kill you.
how about we don't use, billions of taxpayer dollars a year to house and feed these guys for decades on end while they're on death row? How about we just get back to kill them? I bet you a lot of people would be a lot less stupid
That's what I'm saying.
if they knew they weren't guaranteed 3 hots in a cot for the rest of their life until they died in old age. Because heaven forbid we actually just kill people anymore.
And all this other shit that prisoners get. Prisoners get more than veterans do.
People, terrorists in Gitmo get treated better than we do. Remember correctly, Biden, see, there we go. They did a very good job. They gave him a big ass soccer field. I mean, they took care of them. They gave, they upgraded all kinds of stuff, so their life was easier and more comfortable. Like they've blown people up and caused the deaths of numerous Americans and everyone else abroad.
There was 3 gentlemen that got in that trade for Bergdorf.
For killing all kinds of,
3 of them killed thousands.
Yeah, and look how sorry, I have a problem that we're taking more care of. Yeah, that we're taking, more care of them and more worried about them than anything, and people just keep attacking guns. But the numbers don't add up. 400 million plus to 30,000, including suicides. 35 maybe, 35. Like if you take suicides out of there, the number goes lower, way lower. Mass shootings, if you take Chicago and Philly and Baltimore and all of them out of the equation, the number is way smaller, and suddenly we don't have that big of a problem. And dear everyone, to include media and politicians, it's amazing how, New York City subway, no Joe Biden. The 2 that happened the week before that, because we only allegedly had 4 this year, but there are 3 in like a 9-day span. Amazing how that happened. And now another one. But because it'd be great if they would go out, not just go to the one where it's a white guy shooting up all kinds of people. It'd be great if they actually went and saw the families where, I don't know, black people, like black men, Hispanic men, Asian men, whoever the hell, if they went to all of them and actually treat them like they're equal and not only go to the ones where the victim, is white. All the families, no matter who's shooting them, they all deserve to be known. The whole world should know about it, so they don't just think it's a bunch of white supremacists out there raising all kinds of hell. I bet a lot of this would stop if they actually fairly covered everything, because people wouldn't think that they were being marginalized and just shot up at will. No one gives a damn.
I only got one more thing to say, and I have to say this because you brought it up. You were talking about Joe Biden. The gentleman made a statement, I don't know, it's probably been 2 or 3 weeks ago now, about we're at war with Russia. Ukraine is the only motherfuckers truly fighting Russia. And they ain't got nobody saying they're at war with them.
Ours is mostly a proxy war.
And then you got Putin.
He's been out of his mind since day one.
When he said that in his speech a week and a half ago, he says, we are at war with the West in the U.S. Okay, well, here's the deal. We won't send those HIMARS with the long-range rockets to Ukraine. That pisses me off because we're not at war and we don't want to potentially put us at war with Russia. Well, we're already there. You said it, Joe.
Second,
and Putin said it. You both have agreed that we're at war with each other. If that's the case, then the HIMARS, the long-range, and
second they did anything, no matter what, we were at war. Second we did a thing, no matter what anyone goes, but this is just non-lethal. Like, we're sending them defensive stuff, which is still killing Russians, which is still putting us in, like, you have to be cognitively, sorry, you don't have to be cognitively disabled. You have to be blatantly ignorant and horrifically dense and thick to actually.
They were worried about shooting those into Russia. Well, no matter where you're at in Ukraine, minus maybe one little small region of it, you're more than the 381. There you go. You're more than the 381 mile range of the long range HIMARS rocket. So why are we so afraid to send those long range rockets to them when no way in hell are they going to hit Moscow from Ukraine?
That's too far away.
I feel like it's like 500 miles to Moscow.
Yeah, it's just numbers, people. It's not that hard to. Again,
people are idiots.
Here it comes.
I'm not saying we'll go shit into Russia.
Here we go. My last line here. Like as you just got your, which was literally Walter's closing thoughts. Like I was giving you time after I shut up. See, you even get fit into the talking points now. So I make sure try to hold some kind of thing together because we just bounce all over the place because, well, we have brain damage. But the last thing I wrote for my closed F was denial of all facts doesn't do anything but regress us as a society. Regression of the facts, another thing that's actually going on, no matter what they say, the stats are real. They're all out there. Go find them, because what they're doing is turning us into a third world dumpster fire. And it's making everyone blatantly, horrifically thick and ignorant to all anything that matters. And they just believe whatever anyone tells them because they're not actually taught anything. They don't know how to use their brains. And we have a bunch of sheeple. That's why I will go back to Disturbed's music video for The Vengeful One. If you haven't watched it, watch it. I mean, it's the normal guy you see in all their videos, that animated guy, going around, and he's just blowing up TVs and the mainstream media as a whole to stop just spewing their garbage to whoever they want, regardless of who they're making it about. It's pretty much true. Turn everything off, use your brain, follow along news organizations on your social media so you can see whatever they're saying, and then you can look up whatever the hell they're talking about. And you can actually, when it's talking about bills or anything, you can read it. And most of it's cut and dry, unless you're stupid. And I'm not even going to, what we're actually making really good time. So I'm trying not, unless you're stupid.
Fair enough.
There's nothing you can't fix stupid. I mean, you can slap them with, like, I don't know, one of those bills that they say they read that's full of all kinds of stuff. You probably knock a tooth out with how thick a lot of them are. Oh, we're sending this much money there. How long is the bill? 2,673 pages. Like, excuse me. So that's how they get all that extra stuff in the right, because literally most of the senators don't even read it because it's physically
no way
impossible.
they can in the time frames they get.
Yeah, but
you literally have to hand a copy to like 45 people and be like, here, read 100 pages. Here, read 100 pages. Here,
now when? Well, you got till we got about 3 hours.
You got till close of business. Good luck.
But yeah, suppression of information regresses us as a society, which is why, again, crime's up, shootings are up, all this stuff, because it makes us like just use your damn brains. Go find Master Guns Fry. He'll punch you in the face and make you use your damn brain.
Yeah.
Throw a ring,
or he'll make you puke to the point where you want to use your brain. Either way, it's gonna work.
God damn, it's not that hard. But that's a perfect ending. We made good time today for the first time ever. How about that? Write that down. They get us both pissed off. And I shot through like 2,000 words in like 5 minutes. So like Jim Carrey back in the day when he was still funny before he lost his damn mind. But thanks, everybody. Watching, listening, everyone on Good Pods, keep it going up there and keep telling more people and keep getting more people on there, because nothing makes me feel better than going on there and seeing that I'm beating people from MSNBC and George Stephanopoulos. And yeah, nothing makes me happier. So the more of them I beat, the better I'll feel. It's like kind of eating beans at every meal. Don't forget to follow on Twitter at Jay Rucinski Show, because you're still only allowed to have like 15 characters. So hey, Elon, can you fix that? That'd be great.
That'd be nice.
That'd be super if you could do that for me. If you could jump in there and buy it after they figure out that over half the accounts are all bots and they get rid of them, and then you give them like $10.
Also, speaking of Tesla and Elon, if you could put just a small manual on traction control and traction and tire selections in your cars for people, that'd be awesome.
There you go. That would help. That would really help. But most people still won't listen anyway, because people are stupid. Like AOC pushing it, and then now she wants to get rid of it because he hurt her feelings. Well, honey, you started it. It's not his fault that he's much wittier and smarter than you could ever pretend to be. And please, people, stop attacking the man. But yeah, follow Jay Rucinski Show on Twitter. I just started its own page. It'd be great to have people on there. And I know some of you are on there listening. Have one, find it. More people to share it out. You can see more people makes everything better. Facebook, the videos will be on there this time because he is there. Correction, he is there. Keep forgetting that backwards thing. The videos, YouTube, Rumble, and Cloud Hub, they don't go on Right Only anymore because I can't even get on there. So apparently they're having some conflict of interest with their servers. I can't even get on there. So YouTube, Rumble, and Cloud Hub. Follow along on all of them. Again, all you got to do is click subscribe, hit like, type a few words after you listen to it in the comment section, and boom, it helps us out immensely and moves us up the list. And rate the show, rating the show at Facebook, all of them. That really, really helps too. So do all of that. I'll be back on Friday. I have no idea. We'll talk about something. I have a whole giant binder full of stuff that I need to talk about. So I'm sure.
Racing.
Oh, don't forget racing with Jesse Rucinski on Friday. Now we have 2 weeks of Walter to get through. I did think it was funny that, you know, Christopher Bell mauled a wall and was going 12 miles an hour and they didn't throw a caution. And then the Xfinity race, Brandon Jones literally 4-tire drifted through turn 3 and 4, smoke everywhere, didn't throw a caution. But Ricky Stenhouse has no one. Yeah. We'll get into, well, you'll hear about that on Friday, but be good to each other, follow along on everything, especially there on Good Pods, but keep it going. Because every time my name is above George Stephanopoulos and any of those people, I feel like I smile. There you go. I feel better inside knowing that at least I'm beating those worthless sacks of human. And we'll be back, for the racing show. I'll be back on Friday, talk about whatever. So be good to each other, share it out. Appreciate y'all. Give it a rating. Peace.
Peace.